Now, I'm so excited to introduce Tanner and his sister Taylor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Smith, and I'm so excited to be here to talk to you today. For those of you who might not know me, I'm 26 years old, and I bought them last year. Many people learned I appeared on season 2 of the Netflix show Love on the Spectrum. It is a show that follows young adults who have autism as they navigate dating and relationships for the first time. It was a great experience for me, but I will tell you more about that in a few minutes. First, let's start from the beginning of my story. I was born on November 23rd, 1998. My parents' names are Mark and Nikki Smith, and I had one big sister, Taylor, who was 2 when I was born. My family lives in St. Matthews, South Carolina, on the same family farm where my dad grew up. When I was 2, my parents started to notice some things I did that were a little different from other kids. Yeah. My parents had lots of friends with children my age, and when we would get together, I would go off by myself instead of playing with the rest of the group. I also spent a lot of time studying the covers of my favorite movie cases instead of watching the movie, and I liked to line my toys up in a perfect line and watch the wheels spin on my toy trackers instead of driving them along the ground. My parents took me to the doctor, but it was hard for them to notice anything wrong at first because I was always able to speak clearly. My mom continued asking questions and finally took some videos of me stimming to show to the doctors, and then they finally saw that I was a little different. When I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism and sensory integration dysfunction. My parents knew that they wanted to give me the best life possible, so they immediately got to work on helping me overcome the things I struggled with. Learning was very hard for me. I did not have a typical school experience. When I was in kindergarten, I also did ABA therapy at home, and one of my therapists came to school with me to help me one-on-one during the school day. Over the years, I went to a small private school for a few years, did 2 years of homeschool with my mom, and ended up finishing high school at Glen Forest in Columbia, South Carolina. Because of my autism, it was easier for me to learn and focus when we did things at a slower pace and with a smaller class size. Glen Forest provided those things for me, and I'm very grateful to them for helping me finish high school. When I was a young kid and a teenager, it was hard for me to form relationships with my peers. I was very overwhelmed by things like loud noises and conversations, and I didn't understand. I also did a lot of stimming, things like clapping my hands and running up and down the stairs while humming or squealing. One of my favorite stims was doing handstands, and I used to do handstands all over the place, even in the middle of a restaurant. Yes, as I got older, I learned to control my stims better and better. Stimming is something that helped me feel calm and focused. I still did a little bit sometimes, sometimes feel overwhelmed. But I've learned that another thing I can do is ask for help to talk about my feelings with my family instead of keeping it on the inside. I used to worry about saying the wrong thing and thought maybe people wouldn't understand that sometimes I just want to be quiet and by myself. Now I know that there is not always a right or wrong answer, and it is okay to tell people how I'm feeling. After I graduated from Glen Forest in 2017, I spent a year working 2 jobs where I learned many skills. I worked at Chick-fil-A where I was the lemonade king, and at the cafe at Cornerstone Church in our hometown. Both of these jobs taught me new social skills as well as responsibility and staying on task. During that year, my parents learned more and more about the Clemson Life program at Clemson University, and we decided that I should apply. Life stands for learning. It is for everyone, and Clemson Life is a post-sanctuary education program that gives the college experience to young adults with disabilities. The students in the program live on campus with an ILA or independent living assistant, and also attend classes on campus just like the regular Clemson students. The main goal of Clemson Life is teaching us to live and work independently. My classes include some math and reading, but I also took courses like apartment class, cooking class, and even relationships class. I was definitely a little nervous during my freshman year because I had never lived far away from my parents before. My sister Taylor was a senior at Clemson at the time, so it was very helpful to have her around. I'm not saying Clemson is better than other schools, but there is definitely something in those hills. The Clemson Life students are very well known, not just on campus, but all over town. They work in the restaurants, stores, fitness centers, and many other places. There is also a very large student organization at Clemson called Volunteers for Life, and through this regular students sign up to partner with Life students as workout buddies, cooking class hosts, classroom helpers, and more. I met so many awesome people and had so many opportunities through Clemson Life. My sister Taylor was a shadow in my freshman year math class. Then we learned about banking, and she said it was very helpful for her too. That we learned about banking, and she said it was during the first fall that I was at Clemson. Taylor asked me what my favorite part of being a college student was, and I told her that finally making my own friends. That while I was a student at Clemson, the Shepherd Hotel was being built downtown. I became the first employee they hired and still work there today. 30% of the Shepherd Hotel's employees have some sort of a disability. It is a beautiful hotel with nice rooms and a delicious restaurant, but it's also full of magic and laughter because of the amazing people who work there. You should come visit us if you're ever in Tigertown.
You're doing great.
You did, I'm proud of myself.
Me too.
Yeah. Graduating from Clemson in May 2022 was one of the greatest accomplishments in my life. I shook my fist in the air and shouted, "Hooray, I did!" That when I walked across the stage and gave President Jim Clements a hug, I was on top of the world. And then it was just about a year later, life got even more exciting. In the spring of 2023, my mom saw a post on Instagram about a show that would be filming in the Greenville area and was looking for young single people on the autism spectrum. She thought, why not, and sent in my picture and information. Well, the people from Netflix must have noticed how handsome I am because they said they wanted me on the show right away. Season 2 of Love on Spectrum aired on January 19th, 2024, and my life has not been the same since. I have met so many people and had so many opportunities like being on podcasts and TV, speaking to crowds, an event like this, and helping to spread autism awareness and joy all around the world. In fact, we are on the way to New York City tomorrow morning for my second appearance on The Kelly Clarkson Show. Even though autism gave me some struggles over the years and still makes some things a little bit hard today, I am so happy that I have autism and have been given the chance to share my story with so many people. I like to say that autism is my superpower, and I want everyone out there to know that people with autism are smart, kind, capable, and have goals they want to accomplish too. That I know that if I did not have autism, I would not have gotten to do all of these great things. I'm so happy that I was made the way I am. Always remember that It is okay to ask for help when you don't understand things. I am so thankful for my family and all the many people in my life who have helped me get to where I am now. Speaking of things I have going on at the moment, you can catch me on season 3 of Love on Spectrum this Wednesday, April 2nd on Netflix. Thank you all so much for having me, and let's keep spreading joy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, dude, I did it. I'm proud of myself. I did it, dude.
I'm so proud.
I'm so proud of you, dude. I did
You
it.
crushed it.
I'm close to it. I did it, dude.
You can go sit right now.
It's dude. Woo, I did it.
We put smiley faces on the page as reminders, and we take that very literally, as you can tell. Tanner, did you notice who's on the screen right there?
Yeah, us.
It's all pictures of us. Isn't that cool?
That's so great, dude.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to sincerely thank the Autism Strong Foundation for inviting my brother and I to speak with you today. For those of you who don't know, my name is Taylor Owens, and I am Tanner's older sister. I also want to start with a disclaimer. I am not here speaking to you in a professional capacity. While I would feel confident telling you that I know autism like the back of my hand, I'd also be sure and mention that that fact is not because I hold any sort of degree or educational achievement. I know all the ins and outs of autism because for the past 25 years or so, I have lived it. My life with Tanner has been filled with more observation hours, data collection, and research through experience than I could have ever gotten in a classroom or a science lab. And while the studies of the diagnosis are exceedingly important and necessary, I don't know if anyone can ever understand autism better than those of us who are exposed to it day in and day out. My goal today in sharing the following stories with you is to give you hope, a sense of support, a sense of understanding, a sense of camaraderie. Living with and helping care for a person with a special need is an experience that you can only truly understand if you've done it yourself. It's a life filled with a very specific kind of trials and sacrifices. It's also a life filled with a very specific kind of triumphs and joy. To my fellow autism siblings, I want you to know that I see you. Though the details of our stories might differ, the overarching themes and lessons are very much the same. And to the parents of a child with autism as well as other typical children, I want to reassure you that we are all doing okay. And one more disclaimer. I'm a bit of a crier and also newly pregnant, so please bear with me because the hormones are raging. The year is 2019. It's fall, mid-October to be exact, in small town South Carolina. My brother Tanner is just about to turn 21 years old. We're headed to our local county fair, Tanner, our mom, our youngest brother Maverick, and myself. It has crossed our minds, Mom's, Maverick's, and mine, that our experience here tonight will be different than most others, given our special circumstances in regards to Tanner. No one mentions this out loud, though. While different from what most would consider normal, that's exactly what this evening will be for us. This has been our life for nearly 2 decades. We buy our tickets and enter the gates. Tanner is elated. He cocks his head a bit of an odd way and wiggles his fingers quickly in front of his eyes as he points out the petting zoo area, the fair food, and the rides. We make our way to the rather rickety Ferris wheels, roller coasters, and other attractions full of screaming children. Keep in mind, this is not Carowinds, Six Flags, or Disney World, where the rides are big and made to be fun for adults as well as kids. This is a small county fair in a very small town. It is safe to say that the only ride goers younger than preteens are the parents of small children who are only riding under obligation to accompany their offspring. The exception to this rule being, of course, my brother Tanner. He spots the bumper cars and makes a beeline. The rest of us take quick inventory and confirm silently to each other that one of us should probably accompany him, seeing that he will be the only grown man bobbing and weaving and crashing, with other riders all at least half his age. We don't see how we can tell him no. It's not against the rules for him to ride the bumper cars, but it's likely he will need assistance at some point in the allotted 5 minutes his ticket will buy. Mom looks at Maverick, who without a word nods with a slight smile and hops in line to show his adult brother a good time. I remember so distinctly that image of Maverick. accepting without complaint that he was the chosen one to bumper car with Big Brother. He was 13 at the time, which, as we all know, is the time in our lives when we tried our very hardest to be cool and fit in. As a matter of fact, I remembered we just passed by a few cute young girls from Maverick's class at school, and I could only imagine that most boys his age would be more worried about impressing them than entertaining a special needs Big Brother. Not Maverick, though. He didn't think twice about going with Tanner, or if he did, he sure fooled me. Maverick is 10 years younger than me. In many ways, we both know that I've been just as much a mother figure to him as a sister one. He also happens to be one of the people that I admire most in the world. Currently, at 19 years old, Maverick is kind, steady, slow to anger, quick to compassion, and a quiet example setter among his peers. He does not get easily embarrassed by small, stupid things because he has oftentimes had to embarrass himself for the sake of his different older brother. He lets immature knuckleheads roll off his back and does his best to shut down bullies because his own big brother is the ultimate underdog. And speaking of the underdogs, he always sits with them at the lunch table. I know he does because his teachers, who have paid witness to this, call and tell my parents about it every time. He does this because at some point in years past, we have all hoped someone would find it in their hearts to sit with Tanner. Sorry, I've never done this in front of him. I don't know what it's like to have an older sibling with autism. I imagine you feel a great sense of loss. Tanner did not teach Maverick to drive or fish or flirt or cuss, the things big brothers teach to their little brothers after them. But by simply being Tanner, and because he has Tanner as a big brother, Maverick has learned so many things that have made him wise beyond his years and will make him into a better man than he may have been otherwise. Autism has given Maverick some loss, but it's also given him many greater gains. If you too are the younger sibling of someone with someone special like Tanner, please know that your efforts and your compassion will be rewarded. You are learning more than you can imagine every single day, and like Maverick, you will end up better off for it. Our sister falls between Tanner and Maverick. There she is. Her name is Madeline, but she goes by Midge almost exclusively. My sister's biggest lie about herself that she's had to overcome is that she is a burden on other people. At 23, she is one of the most fun and also funniest people I've ever met. She's also one of the most beautiful. But she is afraid to admit when she's struggling because she does not want to have anyone else worrying about her. That fear dates back to her childhood. A specific moment in time solidifies it for her. She's young, mid-grade school age, sitting at the dining room table working on homework. Tanner's at the same table and doing the same thing, except he's pitching an absolute fit. He doesn't understand his work and is upsetting our mom while she desperately tries to navigate, helping him get through the work and calming him down. Secretly, my little sister is confused about how to do her own homework too, but she doesn't say anything because she can't add to the burden. Mom's dealing with enough at the moment, she tells herself. That moment paints a picture of a lot of my sister's childhood memories. I really need help, but Tanner needs help more, so I won't ask. I'm hurting, but worrying about Tanner hurts everyone enough, so I won't seek out comfort. I can't bother Mom right now. She's crying about autism again. In the present day, my sister is one of Tanner's biggest cheerleaders and most enthusiastic confetti throwers. If you follow Tanner on social media, Midge's face is the one you see with him quite often, as she is the one who lives with him in Clemson. Like Maverick's, her experience having Tanner as a sibling has involved the unique circumstance of looking out for someone who would normally be meant to look out for you. My sister knows deep, true kindness and has an air of celebration that she would not have if Tanner was not her big brother. She is one of those people who lights up rooms and puts smiles on the faces around her just by being her authentic self. Over the years, I have watched Midge become a woman who celebrates others time and time again and always does it so well, no matter how big or small their accomplishment. This is how we had to learn to celebrate with Tanner, because for years, many of his achievements that he made were smaller than what we'd originally hoped for his life. That is oftentimes how you get through it. You find the joy in everything good, even if to the outside world it seems small or mundane. I am the only sibling in my family who has known Tanner for his entire life. We are 2 years and 1 month apart to the day, both born on the 23rd of October in 1996 and November in 1998. I can't say I truly remember Tanner before. Tanner got an official diagnosis of high-functioning autism when he was 4 and I was 6, but he started showing signs at 2, which makes me only 4 years old when my little brother started to drift away. What I do remember are the countless times in our childhood when I had to stick up for Tanner, to pull him in and hold him close, to defend him. The time that I got busted, almost ready to swing, with the shirt of a boy twice my size balled up in my fist because he'd been making fun of Tanner during Sunday school. All the times I wrestled to the ground, literally, with Tanner, to calm him down and help ease his anger and anxiety. All the things that I had to explain to him, all the times that I had to explain him to other people. In a weird way, I feel that autism took the least from me out of our siblings. As the oldest child, I was always helping take care of everyone anyways. Tanner just happened to need extra help of a special kind. I naturally played a role of leadership in my family, the nurturer, the helper, the responsible party. Our Nana says that every memory she has of us from the time period when Maverick was a baby and toddler, he's always on my hip in the picture in her mind, which is funny to think about, seeing that he could now easily eat an apple off the top of my head. What autism gave me is a sense of grace and empathy that I can't imagine I'd feel quite so strongly if Tanner were not my little brother. A large portion of my life has been hoping that others would show grace and understanding to Tanner. Because of this, I do my best to return the favor to the world whenever possible. I have seen Tanner through his worst years of confusion and struggle and tried to see things how he does, tried to explain the world to him in a way that makes sense. I've gone with my dad, who I am more like than anyone in the world, and seen each other through anger and frustration, trying to be leaders and figure all this out. I have sat with my mom in sadness on the kitchen floor and allowed her to be broken when she needed to be. I am a better listener because of Tanner. I am more confident in my abilities to take care of people because of the ways I've learned through helping care for him. Every one of us who has lived through caring for someone with a special need has become immeasurably greater in other areas of our lives. This, I believe, without the shadow of a doubt. My favorite piece I've ever read about a personal experience with a special need is Emily Pearl Kingsley's Welcome to Holland. If you've never read it, please do yourself a favor and Google it later this evening. In her poem, Kingsley compares the experience of raising a special needs child to the idea of planning a fabulous trip to Italy, only to travel there and find out you've landed in Holland instead. Think of all the time you spent planning the trip you thought your child's life might be, only to wind up on a vastly different journey. But as Kingsley states, the thing is, they haven't taken you to a horrible place. It's just a different place. Slower paced, less flashy, but once you've been there a while and catch your breath, you begin to notice the beautiful things about this place. And if you spend your life mourning the fact that you never got to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special and very lovely things about Holland. For my family, you can imagine all the things Italy would have been. We are from the type of small southern town you see in the movies. There are many kind people there who care deeply about things like family, football, outdoors, hard work. You get the idea. Italy would have been Tanner and I in high school at the same time. It would have been us, going to parties together maybe, being reckless but having so much fun, and in present day, being able to look back on many memories we made together. The class Tanner that would have been in if he had gone to our school went to the state championship in football their senior year. And while I thoroughly enjoyed watching that game and cheering them on, it was on my mind and in my whole family's mind that Tanner likely would have been on that field if circumstances were different. Italy would have been Midge following an older brother into high school, having someone to look out for her and threatening to beat up any boys who broke her heart. Italy would have been Tanner showing Maverick how to drive the boat or throw a ball with him in the yard. But we didn't get those things. Instead, we got Holland. And even though it's often a different type of good thing, I would not change where we ended up. Holland has been a newfound type of gratitude and celebration. It has been a bond between us that you simply cannot understand unless you too have lived it. It has been many, many struggles, but also many victories that have made it all worth it. There was a period in our lives when Tanner would only wear 2 shirts. He would throw a tantrum like you've never seen if it was even suggested that he try another shirt option. My mom has described that time by saying, "Normally I wouldn't put up with that from one of my kids, but the way he would cry, it was as if it was hurting his soul to not wear the shirt he wanted." Years later, clothing textures irritated him, and he only wore a shirt when he absolutely had to. Today, Tanner will happily wear whatever and actually enjoys getting cleaned up and being dressed nicely. That small victory is Holland. On the 4th of July, we used to get on the boat and go watch a fireworks show on the lake. Tanner would hide under a towel and cover his ears because he didn't like loud noises. Today, Tanner will sit in the football stadium and cheer on the Clemson Tigers with tens of thousands of screaming fans. He attends concerts and regularly goes to large social events because he genuinely wants to. That is Holland. At one point, simply getting through a single school day was a victory. Then 3 years ago, we watched Tanner walk across the stage at Clemson University, and the crowd was ablaze as he laughed and shook his fists in the air in victory. That was one of my family's greatest days in Holland, made all the more special when I looked on either side of me and saw the tears on the faces of the only 4 people who have known this specific journey as well as I have. Every win feels like a reward for all of us. We are a team who fought for this goal together. My mom is a big reader. One of her favorite books on motherhood is Feathers from My Nest by Beth Moore. I borrowed her copy and found several excerpts highlighted, including this one. The goal of life is not the absence of pain. It is the presence of glory, God's glory. And sometimes that comes most vividly with pain. Not only have I learned that pain doesn't kill, I've learned that I will never lose or be betrayed by the one thing with the absolute power to destroy me, God Himself. Unexpectedly, the hit reality show Love on the Spectrum has been another huge victory for Tanner. For his personal self, the experience gave him an opportunity to learn about handling relationships and dating as an adult. It also gave him a new kind of self-confidence and some new social skills. And above the surface, it has given him an incredible platform and changed his life exponentially. It's changed all of our lives. I want to be sure and acknowledge that we realize Tanner's life is not like all other autism stories. There are many of you who face cases more profound and difficult than Tanner's, and there are also those cases who are much more capable than Tanner in certain areas. Just like the personalities and capabilities of those of us who are typical, each person with autism spectrum disorder is a little different from the next. I encourage you not to compare your journey to those who may be ahead of or behind you, but to figure out in your case where the victories lie, to focus on your version of Holland. Trust me, this beautiful, kind, smiling boy that just spoke before me was and is still a work in progress, as am I, as is every single person in this room, affected or not. Our family's autism-related goals now revolve around spreading awareness, knowledge, hope, and joy. If you take nothing else from me today, please take this. Every single one of your journeys have their own victories. Tanner's journey is not over because he's been on Netflix. There will be more good to come, as well as more bad. No matter where you and your family are right now, that same thing goes for you. Never forget all of the lessons you've learned, all of the people you've met, all of the things you've survived, and all the love that you have lived in because of this unique person God decided to trust you with. Be there for each other when it gets hard, and always be sure to truly enjoy, as diligently as you can, every single moment of glory. Thank you. I think maybe we're going to open it to questions. If anybody has a question for Tanner. Tanner, do you want to come back up here?
I do, too.
Y'all can just raise your hand or...
Do any of you have questions for
Oh,
me?
you know what, buddy? Your mic is actually right there, so you don't have to stand next to
Okay.
that. They can hear you.
It's good.
Does anybody have anything? We can... Food, gorillas, anything? Yes, Gary.
Yes.
I heard that you've been speaking at some schools recently.
I have, Dr. Carey. What?
What has been one of your favorite schools that you've spoken at?
Miss Lizzie's school.
Where is that?
It's in Simpsonville. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's in Simpsonville.
Yeah? I
Yeah.
didn't go there. Who's Miss Lizzie?
She's one of the teachers at that school in Simpsonville.
Cool.
Yes? Yes, ma'am. I love Simpsonville.
It's close to Clemson, isn't it?
Yeah, it's close to Clemson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, being recognized.
You,
But maybe
but you have to wait and see.
we have to wait and see. A woman who's a Christian. I want her to be very beautiful and have pretty eyes, and I want her to be very talkative.
Yeah. We need somebody that talks a lot.
Yeah, we need somebody that talks a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, wait. Sorry, what?
Do you remember?
Either 1, 2, or 3.
His language developed very typically, and that was one of the hardest things about getting a diagnosis with him, because he never lost language. So my mom would notice things were a little off, but then would take him to the doctor, and he would sit there and conversate normally. Was always asking WH questions, which was a big thing. We don't know much about the diagnosis process right now, but 20 years ago, that was a big thing. And he was always very affectionate with me and with both my parents. So that kind of, I guess, threw him. Yeah, it wasn't until my mom took some videos of him at home, engaging in some of those behaviors, and then took it to the pediatrician, and they were like, "Oh, gotcha, I see now." Yeah, you threw him off for a minute, didn't you?
I did.
Because you've always been very talkative.
I did. I've been very talkative.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes. I was a little nervous at first because I never lived away from home before I went.
What would you do whenever you got nervous and homesick? Well, how did you handle that?
I would FaceTime my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what else I would do.
Yeah, FaceTime and them, and I was there that
You were
first
there.
year. I was
You
a
were there.
senior at
That's
Clemson
right, you were there that
when
first
he was
time.
a freshman, so that helped. And then when he was an upperclassman, our sister Midge was at Clemson, so he wasn't there alone. If anybody has any questions about the Clemson Life program specifically, I don't know if anyone has a child around that age or starting to think about that kind of thing. We really credit them for a lot of the life skills and the level of independence that we have now. It's an amazing program that we love to promote. Yeah. Right here.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
You tell them some of your favorite things you do at the Shepherd.
I would vacuum the mats and could clean the bathrooms and put more toilet papers and more paper towels in the bathrooms when they need more.
Do everything with a smile. Yeah.
I do everything with a smile.
You have a lot of your friends from Clemson Life who have special needs too. They work there too, don't they?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do the same model in Rock Hill because it's Mr. Rick again. But yeah, 30% of the employees at the Shepherd Hotel have some sort of disability, and it really makes it a magical place. It's a beautiful. They're doing one in Columbia as well. Yeah, we're really excited about two new Shepherds. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about them.
Yeah. Do you like that you work with so many of your friends?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really cool. And now you've got a lot of visitors at the Shepherd Hotel, don't you?
I got a lot of visitors.
Yeah. Lately, we got more and more people coming to say hello.
Yeah, that's right. We do. Yes. I go on walks, listen to my music, and I just swim in the pool. I swim in the pool in the summer.
What else?
And
Some hobbies.
and hobbies. I'm trying to think of some other hobbies I do besides listen, go on walks, listen to my music, and swim. And I go to the fair. I try to go to the fair.
Yeah.
See?
What do you and your friends do when you're hanging out?
Oh, and we celebrate each of our friends' birthdays, and we go fishing, and we go putt-putting. I do those.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. My favorite what?
Bible verse. Do you have
David and Goliath.
Oh yeah,
Is that
David
Bible
and
verse?
Goliath's story. Yeah, that can count. Yeah, that's a Bible story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Bible story.
Yeah. Your first name is David.
That's right. My first name is David.
Yep. Love that story.
Yeah, we love that story.
Dr. Carey.
Yes.
What was your favorite part about being on the leadership on here? I really like the part.
Oh, getting this feel from Jack Black.
I know that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. I know you do.
What's your favorite thing Jack Black is in?
Kung Fu Panda.
I've always been a big Jack Black fan.
I always have been a big Jack Black fan.
Any other questions? All right, can we give it up for Tanner and Taylor?
Yeah, yeah.